Little girls, come down here to the front for just a moment, please. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. What have you been doing this weekend?
Well, we got up with Chrissy yesterday. We ate lunch with her.
All right. Did you get to see your cousin? You did? She was doing something else? All right. Are you going to school tomorrow? Me either. Magicians sometimes do things, especially, I guess, during the observance of Halloween. As I once saw in a movie years ago that says, Halloween is now a time that is celebrated where children frolic around in disguise and costumes and run amok. Amok, amok, amok. So soon, we'll be running amok, or a lot of people will be. Now, when people run amok, they're going to be, many of them are going to be running by here. Now, I think a lot of people have gained interest all over our community. People are looking for places to take their children and places where they can try to observe some semblance of Halloween. Halloween is actually a Christian holiday. It's not for witches, ghosts, and goblins. It is All Hallows Eve. November the 1st, the first day of November, is All Saints Day. It's a day for celebrating the great heroes of the Christian faith. In years gone by, it was assumed that since the celebration of such great men and women of our faith, that the devil kind of pulled out all the stops that he could on the night before to try to make things as dark and evil and witchy as possible. But here are some of the things. We prayed over them for the first time for this particular project last Sunday. We have New Testaments. We have the life book from the Gideons have given us, tracts and brochures, and we have our daily bread. Plus, many have donated just tons of candy. So we're going to be putting bags together with gloves and masks on, and then as people drive by, we're going to be giving them a drive-by treat on that Saturday night. One thing that, as I said, magicians do is, especially during this time, to try to give inanimate objects the appearance of being alive. In other words, things that are not alive, making them look like they're alive. I remember many years ago, one of my dreams come true was to be able to perform magic on stage at the Princess Theater. Now, I know that you don't think being on stage at the Princess Theater is all that big a deal because you've done that too, which is kind of a downer for me. I'd rather be able to say, ha ha ha, I've done that, and you have not.
I've done it several times.
But you have been there several times. I did not dance, however, on stage, but I did have a dancing handkerchief. Your mother and Gentry. Chris Bain and Gentry, what was her name? Anderson. I haven't heard or thought of Gentry in a very long time. They helped me, and I can't really tell you how they helped me, or you'd know the secret to the dancing handkerchief. But we did the famous Blackstone's famous dancing handkerchief, and it did dance. I danced a little bit with it. The thing about it is that my relationship with Jesus and God through the power of Christ is actually able to make things that are not alive. He's the Lord of life. Let me show you something. I've got in magical parlance, this would be called a Fowler scarf, though it's never adorned anybody's neck or head. I can't pay them in. Well, that's a different story. I don't know if I could do that with this or not. I could do that part. But I can't pay them in. But the rest of it, I just don't know how that would work. I can only do one line in that great story. This is an inanimate object. This doesn't have life in it. I can say that, yes, I was alive. Yes, I was alive before I became a Christian in 1970. I was alive, but I didn't have life. When I became a Christian, God infused me with Himself. Jesus lives in me. When you invite Jesus in, Jesus comes to live. Jesus comes to stay. There are lots of things when, in the Old Testament, in the Garden of Eden, when God told Adam and Eve that if they ate the forbidden fruit, they would die. It didn't just mean that they would no longer be alive. There are so many shapes and kinds of being dead and of death. Let me cover this up for here for just a moment. Let me look at it, because I have to see what happens next myself. I hear something. I see something. Something that is not alive. This is just a trick. This is just an illusion. What God does is real. It is very, very, very real. This is just an old plastic ball that I found. Years ago I saw this effect. It was called zombie. Zombie is supposedly something that's alive and dead, or living dead, or walking dead. I had to give up on watching that television show. It was just too depressing. Imagine if someone like me, or like you, could create the illusion of something being alive when it's not. What could a great and marvelous, wonderful God do? With His great power. Against the light. How much did I do in the story of me coming to life? Well, I was dead. Paul says, you were dead. He raised you from the dead. I didn't do anything. He did it all. He makes me alive. And he said something very important in John's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 10. He said, I have come that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. You see, a lot of people are alive. He says, I want you to have life that just rolls up, bubbles up. It's bigger than life itself. It's life and more. Abundant life. All right, think about that. Jesus is the Lord of life. And nothing that he does is illusory or pretend. Okay? Thank you very much. You can go back and sit with me again.